Five, four, three, two, one. Welcome back to the Fever Pitch Podcast. I'm your co-host Brian.
I'm Dan. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. A lot has been happening. We got the Super Bowl coming up this week. We had the Pro Bowl this past weekend, and you got the
Yep.
Star game coming up. Yeah. Also, we have the African Cup of Nations going on. We got a little bit of action happening in the WNBA, but let's just dive straight into it. All right, let's talk about what's going on in the NFL right now. Talk to me about Kadarius Toney. What's going on with this guy?
He's turned into like what's the word? What's the word? He's like notorious, like always in the media now. It's like when he's good, but when he's great, he's god awful. And we saw him at Florida. He was very talented. He got busy in the open field. Was
Mm-hmm.
taken in the first round in 2021 or 2020 by the Giants. And he thinks if he gets more volume, he can be a wide receiver one in the NFL, ideally for the Chiefs.
Do you agree with that?
I think I think he's capable. He won the first round for a reason. And I think he's in the doghouse now because he's just had a very bad showing this year with the drop passes and things of that nature.
Yeah, bad, horrible, same thing.
So yeah, I think with more you can only get better with repetition, but at the same time, if you do the same thing over and over and expect a different result, you're insane. So it's tricky.
So why do you think Kadarius Toney has went from a first round draft pick to bricks for hands?
Well, he definitely was injured in New York, and that kind of soured that kind of stunted his growth. And Andy Reid just said, "Hey, I'll take him. You're at the one man's trash, right?" And then I think he was injured this season during training camp, and brick hands, brick hands, brick hands. And then it's like once you have a rap sheet, the smallest hiccup, people are just gonna label you.
Mm,
Deontay Johnson had a similar fate where he was dropping mad passes one year, and then the following year he cleaned it up. So I
hmm
was like, maybe this could be his Deontay Johnson arc, and he can end up being a serviceable wide receiver, high end wide receiver two, low end wide receiver one.
mm. So then, especially when you think about that, you mentioned he was injured in the preseason and during camp. Is this kind of the testament to not playing through injuries, rest, and then come back?
Yeah, I mean, if you're looking at Antonio Brown, pardon me, if you're looking at Antonio Brown, he was claiming to have injuries and things of that nature. And Bruce Arians made him play through it, and we saw how that went.
Mm.
On the what's the word? On the alternative side, Kadarius Toney is claiming that he was never hurt and that
Oh,
he's fine and that he's healthy. But I feel like as the coaches, I think you know what's best for your players, and if you believe they're not at full strength and you want to win, it's like you don't want to you want to trust your instincts
mm.
rather than because then it's like, oh, if we were so healthy, you know what I'm saying? So I feel like it's tricky. I just feel like that bridge is like burning by the day, and I feel like he'll probably be on his way out next year.
Honestly, I see it the same way. And you mentioned Antonio Brown. Honestly, I see a similar trajectory where we're just gonna see a descent without the talent, but more into social media and messaging and things of those nature. Honestly, I think Kadarius Toney is not a bad player. I think he just had a bad go around of things.
Mm-hmm.
Like he needs to just reset and recalibrate. But
Mm-hmm.
the Super Bowl is not the time for him to reset and recalibrate.
Right.
Yeah.
I just think it's a down year. You got traded in the middle of the season last year.
Yeah.
It's your first full season with the it's your first full season with the team.
Mhm.
You weren't the healthiest going into the year, and you looked a little shaky. It's like, I don't feel like it's like the biggest, it's a down year. I think he'll bounce back. Granted, I am a Kadarius Toney shareholder in fantasy, so I'm hoping he bounces back, but only time will tell.
Um, um, I hope you trade him. Um,
He's like wide receiver 6 on my roster, so he's fine.
he should be wide receiver zero at this point.
Hey man, shout out Young Joker, man. We room for you over here. Mhm.
Hey man, speaking of, so we're talking about Kansas City, right?
Yeah,
Patrick Mahomes said something very interesting. He considers himself to be the Steph Curry of the NFL. What do you think about that?
it's pretty accurate through and through. Both Vice skins that cause chaos for the defense. One on the hardwood, one on the gridiron.
Hmm.
But in all seriousness, I feel like they're at the apex of what they do. Steph Curry shooting, Patrick Mahomes throwing the pigskin. They both do it at the level that we don't see often,
Hmm.
and they both win at a high clip. I think it's a very fair comparison.
Okay, okay. And talk to me what's going on overall with the Chiefs ahead of the Super Bowl.
So Joe Tooney, or is it Tooney or Tooney? I think it's Tooney. Joe Tooney,
Yeah.
former O lineman from New England. He agreed to a deal with KC, believe last year or the year before. But he's been a left tackle for Kansas City for the bulk of the last 2 years post COVID. He suffered a pretty bad injury. He's an all pro, very, very, very talented offensive lineman, but he's been hobbled. He
Mm.
didn't play in the AFC Championship, and he's looking like a long shot to play in the Super Bowl. And as we saw when Patrick Mahomes went up against Tampa Bay, he's a guard, probably not left tackle. When Patrick Mahomes went up against Tampa Bay, his O line was hobbled and he put up 9 points.
So we're starting to see some inklings of similar things starting to happen as the Chiefs had going on in 2020,
Right.
right? So how do you think that'll bode for the Chiefs? I It held up fine during the AFC championships, but everybody knows the Super Bowl is a different stage completely.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Games are won and lost in the trenches. And I feel like if you, despite the lack thereof of Joe Toney, the backup tackle, I believe, is Jawan James. No. Donovan Smith. Donovan Smith is the backup. I feel like he's a very capable offensive lineman as well. So I think they'll be able to see it through. Donovan Smith he brought for Tom Brady, and he was on that Super Bowl roster in Tampa Bay. So I feel like he understands the nuances and can hold it down in the trenches in the biggest game of the season. And
Mm-hmm.
he went to Owings Mills High. So shout out.
Owings Mills
Yeah.
in Maryland.
Yeah.
Hey, salute.
Yep.
Huh. But you mentioned the Patriots, and when I think the Patriots, I think Tom Brady. When I think Tom Brady, I think the fact that the only division in football that was ever able to keep him from getting two more rings was the NFC East. So talk to me about what's going on in the NFC East.
Hmm. 3 more rings, honestly, because he lost to the
Three.
Giants twice and he lost to Philly.
Oh snap! Yeah, three.
Yeah, three. Where do we begin? Where do we begin? Okay. The Washington Commanders have hired Dan Quinn as their head coach. Dan Quinn brought in Joe Witt. They were both in Dallas this past year, and now they will be in Landover doing defensive things and the head coach things.
Mhm.
Um, Additionally, Airbnb was sent to Cancun. Uh, it was a silent firing for the former Kansas City Chiefs offensive coordinator, but it was just a bad marriage, and his job has been taken by Kliff Kingsbury, who
Mm.
pulled the rug on the Raiders. There were reports saying that he was on his way to Vegas as their offensive coordinator. And he spun the block, and now he's heading to Washington to be the OC for potentially Caleb Williams. I say potentially because the Bears hold the number one pick.
Mhm.
There's a possibility that they hitch their riding on Justin Fields. There's a possibility that they may trade that pick,
Mm,
amongst other things. So in the event that Washington really wants to get their QB, which they could get Drake May, they say Drake May is a very good cons- consolation prize. But you can't hire Caleb Williams as college offensive coordinator and then not draft him.
yeah.
So it's looking like they're going to trade up to the 101 and take Caleb there.
Okay, so you're a former Commanders fans. We've been seeing the Commanders making a lot of moves this postseason, from coaches, OCs, DCs. Just overall, it's been a year of reset from the trades and everything that's been going on. If they trade up for Caleb Williams along with all the other moves they made this season, is it enough to win you back to be a Commanders fan?
No, but I wish them well.
Mm. What inkling does it give you?
I think we've seen this before when they traded them for Robert Griffin III.
Mm.
And I mean, ironically enough, they took Kirk Cousins in that same draft, so no harm, no foul
Mm-hmm.
to a degree. But here, I feel like it's a good move. They're doing things the right way. I thought they should tank outright. Sam Howell's not it. So hopefully they can move off him, get some capital for him, get some capital for him. I
Mm-hmm.
think Sam Howell would be pretty good. Um, Potentially in Arizona if they're not too fixed on Kyler Murray. If not Arizona, maybe Seattle. They're not too fixed on Geno. If not Seattle,
I think
maybe
I see Sam Howell as like a Falcons guy.
potentially the Falcons. Yeah, yeah.
You know,
There's a few places he can go.
take him to ATL. You know,
Hey, hey man, Magic City.
is there anything the Commanders can do to get you back?
No, go with God.
You said,
As go with God.
hmm, okay,
No, 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 I'm not lie. One of my homies gets drafted or signs there that I know personally in real life, I will root for him. And if he ends up playing for the Commanders, then so be it.
hmm. So the homie got to get signed by the Commanders.
Yeah, wherever the homie goes, I'm going.
You got any homies in this upcoming draft?
Yeah, Christian Haynes out of UConn. If you saw that viral clip of him manhandling somebody in the trenches, that's my boy. I went to high school, middle school, and elementary school with Christian Haynes. So I'm looking forward to seeing his success. So hopefully, when I was looking at the mocks, I think he was slated to be like a late second, mid third rounder. So
Hmm.
y'all need an offensive lineman. Go get my boy. He's gonna do some damage.
Okay, hey, the bolo has been put out. Commanders go get him to get Dan back.
I mean, not necessarily, but hey, whatever works.
Okay, talk to me about what's going on with the Dolphins. What are they doing with their coaches?
So Vic Fangio was the former DC there. He took his way to headed over to Philly to be their DC,
Hmm.
and as replacement, they hired Anthony Weaver from Baltimore. I believe he was linebackers coach for y'all
Yeah,
or something like that. So, how, so I mean, for real, how do you feel about it? Mhm.
I mean Anthony Weaver, he does good work, and he for us he was our oh sorry he was our D line coach. Honestly, it's
Got
very sad to see him go because you saw how the D line was this year with Matabike, Jadeveon Clowney. They were really tearing it up this year. I think
mm-hmm.
like every one of our defensive linemen had 8 or more sacks this season and
Wow.
over a dozen QE pressures and things of that nature. Um, with some of them getting those strip sacks and things of that nature. So he's
Mm-hmm.
very good with the defensive line. And before he was with us, he was with the Houston Texans. He was Jadeveon Clowney's former coach. So
Oh, look at that.
for him to get the position with uh
Miami. Yeah.
Miami as defensive coordinator, I'm happy for him. Salute. He's stepping up to the next level of being a DC, and I think he'll have much success. Obviously, there's going to be some fine tuning getting used to it, but having a good foundation in the trenches is always a good sign. If you can get after the QB, it makes it easier for the secondary, and that's always a consistency.
Well said. I didn't realize he played for a little bit. He was around when I was watching football. And he wasn't half bad. He had 15 and a half sacks over the course of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years. Second round pick out of Notre Dame. So yeah, I mean, shout out to Anthony Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
Getting it done as a player and now with DC.
Yeah. One thing that we're seeing definitely with these coaches is coaches are now more coming from a having played in the NFL perspective. I think the league is kind of making that new shift where it's like you're getting less of career coaches and things of that nature, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Anthony Weaver, he played at Notre Dame. He was a second round pick in 2002. Um, and he played in the NFL, funny enough, for Baltimore and the Texans from
Mm-hmm.
2002 to 2008. And then he went back and as a coach, he started at Florida. Then he went to North Texas, and then he entered the NFL as an assistant D-line coach to the Jets, and then a D-line coach to the Bills, then to the Browns, to the Texans, and then to the Ravens, and now it's kind of full circle. He's back in Florida where he started as a graduate assistant, but now he's with the Dolphins. So it's kind of funny how things come full circle like that, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that we're going to be seeing something special from him because clearly he's shown that he has the time and he is willing to put in the correction. He has the dedication and effort and is willing to put that forth because for over the last 14 years, he's been a D line coach, and we've seen the efforts and fruits of that. And even with Baltimore, he was a run game coordinator. And he
Hmm.
was, and this isn't his first time being DC either. He was DC for Houston in 2020.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, Also, the Dolphins hired Joe Barry from Green Bay, former defensive coordinator in Green Bay, is now the linebackers coach.
Mhm.
So they're definitely making some moves on defense to get it bolstered up. So be on the lookout.
Yeah. Salute to him. Talk to me about what's going on with the Saints.
Okay, so they hired Clint Kubiak. I believe that is the son of Gary. I mean, verify my sources. That Clint Kubiak is indeed Gary Kubiak's son. He's worked under Gary Kubiak for a number of years. Prior to his agreement with the Saints to be their OC, he was offensive coordinator in Minnesota, as well as passing in coordinator in San Fran and Denver, respectively, for 2 1-year stints. Uh, Pretty young guy, pretty young guy. Doesn't look like he played, but when your dad, when your dad is Gary Kubiak, Broncos legend. I think he had some success in Houston and Baltimore as well. So he comes from a football family, very well trained and learned in the sport of football. So I'm sure this will be probably his second biggest because he's a former OC, so he's getting that opportunity to show his talents once again.
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned that he has history in the league with being an offensive coordinator for the Vikings in 2021. It'll be interesting to see how that pivots in 2023. He was under the Shanahan system. He was with the 49ers.
Yeah,
So when you look at the teams that he's been with throughout his career, from Vikings to the Broncos to the 49ers, it'll be interesting to see how they put that culmination together with Derek Carr and Jameis Winston. And
yeah.
speaking of that situation, do you think the Saints will definitively pick a QB1 this year?
Between Derek Carr and Jameis,
Yeah.
I feel like how many more years of Derek Carr having on his contract? Because they gave Derek Carr a lot of money, and I feel like this gives us a good opportunity to highlight a few things. So
Hmm.
Derek Carr is paid. He
Hmm.
has one more year on this deal before they can let him go. But really, if they let him go, they had to eat some dead money. He's really done in 2026.
Hmm.
But Jameis, I feel like they're gonna use Jameis as a scapegoat because of that incident on week 18 where Jamal Williams, who wasn't really getting much he wasn't really getting much PT all season.
Hmm.
The Saints were up big, and typically you go into victory formation. Instead, they ran a play out of victory formation to get Jamal Williams a rushing TD before the season ended. The prior year, he had about 17 or 18 rushing TDs. And then this year, he had none until that one scumbagish rushing TD.
Hmm.
Arthur Smith, the Falcons' former head coach, didn't receive that well. He has some choice words for Dennis Allen when that occurred. Obviously, James Winston and Co. defended it, but it is what it is.
Hmm. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what they do, but ultimately it looks like you think they'll rock with Derek Carr. What about
Yeah.
Winston's contract? What's his
Mm,
contract looking like?
yeah, let me take a look. While I looked at that, what are your thoughts on like victory formation and like the unwritten rules? It's like if you're blowing the team out, you gotta take your foot off the gas. What do you think about that?
I think unless there's a rivalry or things of that nature, you should definitely take your foot off the gas because you don't want some unwarranted animosity coming to bite you in the butt in the future. Um, when you do things like that, you give a team fuel to come after you in the future, and
Hmm.
they'll use that fuel to make things happen. It's very simple.
I
If
feel you.
if it's whether it's a late dunk in a blowout game for no reason instead of dribbling the ball out,
Hmm.
or whether it's kneeing the ball out when you got a minute left and you're already up by like 30 or 40. The
Hmm.
scumbag plays and things of that nature, it's unsportsmanlike and it's not good for the culture because
Mm.
compete when people are competing against you. It's the same thing as kicking a guy while he's down. Why would you ever do that?
Mm. Mm. I feel you. I feel you. Well said.
Yeah.
James Winston, he was on the 2 year, $28 million deal, and that contract was restructured a little bit. So he has a 1 year, $4 million deal on top of that. So I think he'll be in the what's it called? He'll be in the facility at least unless they move off him. They could cut him, but if it's a possibility. Shannon Sharp, when it happened, Shannon Sharp said that yeah, something like that is a cuttable offense, and if he was in charge of the Saints, he would let Jameis go. I thought that was a bit much, but hey,
Wait, so did Jameis choose to do that? Like, I'm confused.
yeah, I think Coach Dennis Allen called victory formation, but Jameis was looking out for Jamal Williams, so they got in victory formation, but he handed the ball off so Jamal Williams could score.
Oh, oh, yeah, that's not why.
Yeah.
Because what he needed a touchdown in order for his money to hit.
No, it was just he has like 17 or 18 touchdowns a year before. And then this year he got injured, didn't play that much. So they were like, let's get our guy one at least.
Yeah, well, he can get his touchdowns when somebody's trying to compete. You were injured all year, and they didn't go to the playoffs, so let it die.
Okay.
All
I
right,
feel I feel you. Yeah.
talk to me about Kellen Moore to the Eagles.
Kellen Moore. Well, long time Dallas associated. He was a Cowboys quarterback and then a Cowboys OC. And then he said, you know what? I'm not gonna be a Cowboys OC anymore. I'm gonna head to LA to to coordinate offense for that guy. And well, it didn't really pan out to his satisfaction. And
Didn't
after
pan out
one
at all.
and after 1 year in LA, he is now in Philly to be the offensive coordinator for Jalen Hurts. I think it's a good signing. I think it was a chess move, knowing that you got to play Dallas twice a year, and you probably should have beat them twice. So they're trying to get that pocket advantage there. Additionally, I think Kellen Moore is a better OC than I think his name is Brian. No, not yeah, I think his name is Brian, the former OC in Philly. And you saw as the season went on, Brian Johnson wasn't it. Obviously, they lost. What's the guy's name? Then Shane Steichen to Indy last year, and they had Brian Johnson as the replacement, and it wasn't working at all. So I think going from Shane Steichen to Kellen Moore is definitely a positive. So hopefully it pans out.
Yeah, I hope so too. It'll be interesting to see how he matches up against the Cowboys. He played in Dallas from 2015 to 2017, and then he coached with them from 2018 to 2022. So he
Yeah.
has a lot of history with Dallas, and I think that will be interesting.
Hmm.
He knows that facility, he knows that culture, and I think he's happy to be back in the NFC East. Most
I
definitely.
agree. You know what's crazy?
What?
He was in the league for 6 years. Only
Mhm.
played 3 games.
Yeah, it wasn't a very good QB. I mean, he went to Boise State.
Oh, don't get me wrong. In Boise State, he was nice. He
Oh
was
no, he
nice.
was that guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he his record overall was 50-3. He was doing his thing, but it didn't translate to the NFL, whether it was
Yeah.
development issues or things of that nature. But
Yeah.
hey, he's found his foot as a coach and he's as an offensive coordinator, and he's pretty young. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him in a head coach position in the next like 4 or 5 years.
I agree. I
Yeah.
agree. Honestly, if you ask me, this is my hot take. I
Mm.
think he's knocking on Sirianni's door.
Mm. That's
So,
okay. Why do
so
you
I think
why do you think that?
if you saw the absolute debacle that happened this year, to go from 10-1 to a wild card exit, 10-1 to a wild card exit, and you didn't win, and well, Dallas won the division, right? So yeah, 10-1, no division title, and a wild card exit.
Mhm.
I thought Sirianni was only gone this year, but
Mhm.
next year, if they look, oh yeah, he's getting the head coach job immediately.
Yeah, I think the issue with this year is the Eagles had more injured players than they would like to admit or let on. I think Jalen
Mhm.
Hurts was definitely injured or hurt. I think
Yeah,
there's something going on there. Um, and hopefully with the longer postseason, they got some time to rest up and heal up. And I look forward to see what they do next season. I think they'll take the division from the Cowboys next year.
oh, well,
Especially with your offensive coordinator having that many years of experience over there.
that's valid. That's valid. I don't hate it. You know what's crazy?
What?
They spent all this time in Cancun that you think the NFL said, you know what, y'all get to play in Brazil next year.
Mm,
So yeah, the NFL has their international series. London, they played in Germany a few times. I think they
mhm.
played in Mexico a couple of times. And now they got a Brazil game. And the first rendition of that Brazil game will be the Philadelphia Eagles taking on the Brazil game.
Have the opponents been announced yet?
I don't think so, but it's gonna be on week 1.
Okay, so season opener. That should be interesting,
Yeah.
especially Brazil. I know they have a few World Cup was hosted over there, so they definitely have the facility and infrastructure for it. So definitely
Hmm.
salute. I'm glad to see the NFL branching out. Can't wait till they have a game in West Africa one day, whether
That
it
part
be Nigeria, Ghana, Ivory Coast, or something of that nature.
for
But
sure.
yeah,
But
honestly,
yeah,
it'll probably be South Africa. Honestly, that'll probably be
yeah,
first because they have the infrastructure from the World Cup.
yeah. Well said, well said.
Yeah.
Funny enough, this will be a Friday night game in Brazil.
Mm.
Week. September 6th. They have a Friday night game. Uh, the Eagles are facing who was their opponent?
I don't think they've released
To
the
be
opponents yet.
determined.
Yeah. Yeah, they
Yeah,
haven't released that
to be
yet.
determined.
Yeah.
But the
They,
Eagles are going to be deemed the home team in this matchup.
okay. All right, cool. Um, so we've been talking a lot about coaches, right? A name popped up that piqued my interest. Harbaugh. Not John, not Jim, but Jay Harbaugh. Who's Jay Harbaugh?
John, Jim, Jingleheimer Schmidt. Okay, Jay Harbaugh, I believe is a son of Jim.
The son of
Yeah,
Jim.
yeah, he's Jim's son.
Jim Harbaugh. Oh, how old is Jim Harbaugh?
Then they're 70, like early 60s.
Oh yeah, he's 60. Huh.
Oh, 60. Oh, well, yeah. So yeah, Jay Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh's son. John Harbaugh's nephew. Jack Harbaugh's grandson. So the Harbaugh family can coach very well.
Hmm.
He went to Oregon State. He was an undergrad assistant there. Had a cup of coffee in Baltimore as a quality control coach, and then he followed his dad to Michigan for about the entirety of Jim's tenure in at Michigan.
Hmm.
He is now serving as he also coached the game in 2023,
Hmm.
getting that win against UNLV while his dad was on suspension. He was an interim coach there. So now he is serving as I think what is it? Closing in on joining the Seahawks as a offensive coordinator.
Really?
Jay Harbaugh will be the first coordinator job that the Seahawks hire. Yeah, pardon me, special teams coordinator.
Okay. For the Seahawks.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, so
Prior,
you said what?
yeah, so prior to this acquisition, he was the safeties and special teams coach. He was the safeties coach and special teams coordinator at Michigan under Jim. So now Mike MacDonald has called his, I guess, play nephew to join his staff.
Love a little nepotism, baby, because I'm looking at his history. Essentially fresh out of college, he was offensive quality control for the Baltimore Ravens, and then he's been with the Michigan since 2015. Being helping with special teams, then tight ends, then running backs, then tight ends, and then safeties. So he's been getting his hand to work with special teams and then various player groups to build up his resume. So that's very good for him, honestly. Um,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that this makes me think of because you know what I'm saying, I think it's like the moniker is essentially Jay Harbaugh. You know, if you got Jay Harbaugh in your name, you're gonna be a head coach somewhere one day. You
Probably.
know what I'm saying?
If you look at that family tree overall,
Got Jack, Jim, John, now Jay.
yep. I think Jack was a coach at, let me see, Jack Harbaugh. Oh, he also played for a little bit. And Jack is actually the assistant head coach at Michigan right now at 84 years old.
Hmm. Okay.
But prior to that, he was a running backs coach at Stanford, running back coach at the University of San Diego, head coach at Western Kentucky. Yeah, he made his bones in college and high school. Never coached in the NFL, but he was a long-time college coach.
Hmm. You know what this reminds me of?
Hmm.
This reminds me of the Bohr family. And when I say the Bohr family, I'm talking about Niels Bohr. For those who don't know, Niels Bohr.
Scientist?
Yeah,
Okay, I'm listening.
let me cook. Let me cook, right?
Go ahead. Yeah.
Because in the Bohr family, there's three Nobel Prize winners for physics, chemistry, and other sciences. Um, Niels Bohr won one. Age Niels Bohr, his son was a nuclear physicist. He also won a Nobel Prize. And Margaret Bohr, uh, the wife of Niels Bohr, also won a Nobel Prize, right? So I think this is kind of the same thing where it's like in that family, there's a culture of, in order to get respect in the family, it builds a culture of you have to be good at this thing that this family does. You know what I mean? It's the
Makes
same.
sense.
It's the same reason why you see like somebody's father is like a lawyer, doctor, engineer. Their son typically becomes like a lawyer, doctor, engineer.
Hey, how you doing?
You know what I mean? And I think in that same case, that's what's happening with the Harbaugh family. You know, but it's coaching in the NFL, coaching in the NCAA at the highest level. Um,
That
and,
part.
and even Jim said he didn't get respect. He didn't feel like he got the chance to sit at the table until he won the NCAA national championship. Now both of them are coaching in the NFL because John had one 10 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Jack has always had one, their dad.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, in order to sit at the table, you have to be a champion as a coach. And they've shown that, especially in football. So I'm sure they're in for a very interesting Thanksgiving with everybody being some type of coach in the NFL. And now you have a father son coach going head to head with each other. Do the Seahawks and Chargers play each other this upcoming season?
I'm about to find out. I want to see the Chargers for the Ravens too.
Yeah. I believe the Chargers play the Ravens. I think so. And I think the Seahawks play the Ravens.
So let's see. They're slated to play. They play the AFC West, the AFC North, the NFC South, the AFC South, and they play the Cardinals. That's the NFC West opponent. Some players on the next year, but they do play the Ravens this year at home.
Yeah. So yeah, we played the Chargers away in 2024.
Mhm.
The Ravens. Um, yeah, I don't see any sign of the Seahawks not till 2027. It's looking like. Yeah, because we just played them, so that makes sense.
Right.
But yeah, the Chargers this upcoming year, so we're gonna have a hardball game. Um,
Hmm.
that'll be nice to see. Um, but let's talk about the Cowboys, right? So the Cowboys are still looking for a defensive coordinator, correct?
Believe they reached out to Joe. No, because Joe went to Washington. So yes, they are.
Right. So I was talking to some fans of the Cowboys, and I was asking them who they would want to see as defensive coordinator. I got a couple of names, and I'm sure, as always, you can illuminate me more about these people for the ones that aren't so obvious.
For
Um,
sure.
the number one was Bill Belichick. Obviously very defensive minded, and the Cowboys want to. A lot of Cowboys fans want him as defensive coordinator. Additionally, Mike Zimmer. Tell me about Mike Zimmer.
All right. So Mike Zimmer, partner. Goodness gracious. So Mike Zimmer, he was a long time coach. I know him most notably as a Vikings coach, as the head coach of the Vikings. But prior to that, he also served as a coach, as an assistant coach for the Cowboys, Falcons, and the Bengals. He also had a few cups of coffee in college. He was a consultant for Jackson State the year Dion was there, and he wasn't coaching at any point since then. So he does. He's well read when it comes to defense, and he was a former DC for the Cowboys for 7 years. So he'd be returning in that capacity.
Mm, no wonder they want him. He even has a Super Bowl under his belt.
Yep, with Dallas.
Yep. So the next person on the list is Al Harris. Can you tell me about Al Harris?
Al Harris was a long-time Packer DB, so he played in the NFL. It's a great DB for the Packers. I think he's now the current D-backs coach, if I'm not mistaken. Under he's a Mike McCarthy guy because Mike McCarthy coached him in Green Bay, and then he eventually made his bones as an intern with the Dolphins. Had a few cups of coffee in Kansas City. Went to Florida Atlantic for a little bit,
Mhm.
and he's been right at the hip with that Mike McCarthy since 2020. As a player, before playing in Green Bay, he had a cup of coffee in Philly, Tampa Bay, and then after Green Bay, he had a cup of coffee with the Dolphins and the Rams. So he's well traveled as a corner, no pun intended. So I think if he was to serve as DB, it would be a good fit, especially if they plan on retaining Coach McCarthy. So yeah, I mean it could work.
Okay, okay. And then I have following statement I didn't from a fan of the Cowboys. I didn't get permission to say their name, but he said, I'd love to see them either promote Al Harris and give him a shot due to his ability to create and develop star DBs the right way. Players also seem to love him, and I feel like it's a low risk, high reward situation. Also, would love Vrabel as well. Strong minded coach who doesn't take any stuff from anyone. Wouldn't be
Right.
opposed to Zimmer, but he'd be the last of the options for me. And Rivera is someone I do not want and will probably just laugh if we end up hiring him. Why do you think people don't want to see Ron Rivera as defensive coordinator?
He's not good at. Hold on. um. Oh boy.
I can see you started getting flashbacks to your Commanders days.
Oh man. Ronald Rivera. He can't manage timeouts. He fired his DC in Washington, and the defense got worse. He can't draft that well because, well, I won't put that on there because the Cowboys stole Micah Parsons from the Commanders, and I would hope that had Micah Parsons been there at pick, I forgot what pick they had that year, Ron Rivera would have encouraged the front office to take Micah Parsons. But outside of the glory days of Cam Newton, what is Ron Rivera known for? Playing for the Bears in the 80s?
I mean,
Cool.
he has a Super Bowl under his belt, and he won the Pop Warner Trophy as a player.
Yeah, so he was a pretty good linebacker for the 80s for the 80s Bears.
Oh, he won Super Bowl 20.
Yeah,
He's won AP NFL Coach of the Year twice in 2013 and 2015.
yeah, and the prime of Cam Newton. What happened after that? Nathan. Mm.
Uh, he won the George Halas Award, which is the NFL coach who overcomes the most adversity to succeed.
Yeah, he beat cancer and he changed the franchise. That's it. He's the resume isn't what you think it is.
As a head coach, he's about 500. He's slightly sub 500. He's 0.498
I
postseason
see.
losing record. Overall, he's a losing coach.
Yeah, I mean, he's not awful,
Yeah.
but I think you need to stock the cupboard with all the goods before he can do anything.
Okay.
Because as you see, he never had a winning record in Washington. He had a winning record one, two, three, four. When Cam Newton played well, the Panthers played well. So I attribute all the Panthers' success to Cam Newton and their defense.
Okay.
Uh, so congrats, or I'm sorry,
Hmm.
or both. I'm not sure which one to use.
So does that mean you would say that the success of Ron Rivera has been conflated, or rather say overrated?
Yeah, because when the Commanders hired him, I thought this was a W hire for sure, and
Mm.
then I realized he can't use timeouts well. He's stubborn, and yeah,
No, that's fair. Um, I think Ron Rivera will most likely not have a job this season, but I don't think this is the last we see of Ron Rivera. I think he'll make a resurgence maybe after next season.
I agree. I think he has a radio show. Wait, no, that's Jerry Jones. Jerry Jones has a radio show. I think he might get like a TV job for a little bit.
They got Jerry Jones on the radio.
Yeah, he has a radio show.
He's a little too old to be on the radio. He might say something he's not supposed to say.
Well, must be the money. Must
Uh,
be the money. But
that,
yeah, Ron Rivera even he was in DC for whoever he's a military kid. So
okay.
I'm sure that the stint in Washington was very heartfelt for him. But yeah, I mean he might take a year off like Belichick, but I don't think he should be head coaching again.
I mean, oh, NBC reported that the Cowboys have interviewed Ron Rivera and Mike Zimmer. So this is, yeah, as of today, they've been interviewed in the past 2 days.
Do I want to? I'm about to do it. I'm about to do it. So a lot of these minority coaches are sometimes just like Rooney Rule. What's the word? Obligation fillers. So it's like the Rooney Rule. You got to interview a minority. You have to.
You wait,
So
can you elaborate on this? What is, I've never heard of this rule before.
yeah. So the Rooney Rule was named after I think Art Rooney. I don't want to get his name wrong. I would think it was Art Rooney the second is who the rule was named after. And it's pretty much affirmative action. Every team must interview one ethnic minority candidate for head coaching and senior football operations jobs. Not Art Rooney, Dan Rooney. I'm sorry, Dan Rooney was a former owner of the Steelers. Um,
So why is it named after him?
it was named after. That's a good question. The minority coaching was named after a white man. Um, salute or not, it was created as a reaction to in 2002. Tony Dungy and Dennis Green, rest in peace, Dennis Green, were both fired, even though Tony Dungy had a winning record that year, and Dennis Green had that was Dennis Green's only losing record in that 10-year span. Johnny Cochran and Cyrus Mary, civil rights attorneys, released a study showing that black head coaches get fired at a higher propensity despite winning, despite winning a good amount of games
Mm.
in comparison to their white fellows. Um, so yeah, they put they raised the uproar, they started the movement, and eventually it turned into the Rooney Rule. It was to ensure that minority coaches would be considered. But I mean, I could consider anything, so that's not saying much.
Hmm.
Um,
Interesting. I did not know this.
yeah. Um, yeah, I'm doing a little bit more reading right now. But yeah, since the establishment of the Rooney Rule, Mike Tomlin, you know, was hired by the Steelers, and he's been coaching there since I've been watching football. Well, that's not true. I caught the tail end of Bill Cowher. So since then, he's been coaching there. And
Mhm.
then Brian Flores got the job with Miami briefly. That went away. And but yeah, and then Mike McDaniel, whose dad is African American, he was able to land the job there. Robert Sala of Lebanese descent, Todd Bowles, D'Amico Ryans, etc.
Hmm. Wait, Mike McDaniel's black?
Yeah, you got a black daddy. He don't
Mike
know him.
Mike McDaniel?
Yeah, his dad black.
Like
The Dolphins head coach. Yeah, his father is black.
he's black?
I don't think he has a relationship with his dad though. But
Oh,
his dad's black.
okay. Huh. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. Did not know about this rule, but I mean, it sounds like overall this led to more good for the league. I mean,
In theory, not in practice. Mhm.
theory. I mean, Mike Tomlin, he's been here for how many years?
Yeah, but then we're going down the rabbit hole, Brian. It's cool. So
No, wait.
Brian
Just
Flores,
say it. Come on, talk, yo. This is your platform.
Brian Flores sued the NFL because he alleged that some of these GMs and owners were giving BS interviews just to fulfill the obligation. He alleged that John Elway and other Denver Broncos executives showed up to the interview intoxicated. So they were hungover and they showed up an hour late to the interview, allegedly. So naturally it's like, yeah, the interview wasn't gonna go any type of way. And yeah, he also alleged that well, that's different. That Stephen Ross was offering 100 bands to lose each game on purpose and a bunch of other things. So yeah,
Oh, I mean, Brian Flores, he's with Minnesota
Minnesota
now.
now. Yeah.
That
Um,
Minnesota defense was pretty sturdy. I'm not gonna lie. So,
yeah. I mean, eventually, a few other coaches joined Brian Flores in the lawsuit, and in March of last year, a district court judge granted the NFL's motion to compel arbitration.
what does that mean?
Uh, excerpt asked for. Let's see. Motion to compel. We're getting stuff about education on the Free Fish podcast.
Hey, you got to,
Motion to compel. There is no time limit for a motion. What does it mean? Ask the court to order either the opposing party or a third party to take some action. So basically, it's like, hey, he says y'all did this. Respond. And I'm not really sure what the response was, but he's coaching now, so all's well that ends well.
Hmm. Yeah. Hey, shout out Brian Flores, New York native, went to Boston College, 4 chips with the New England Patriots as a coach. So,
Yeah. Very capable, very capable.
very capable. And he only coached 50 games and he had a about 500 records. So
Yeah.
I trust that if he's saying that there was something going on, he's not lying, honestly.
Yeah. And just to add a few more nuggets, when he interviewed for the Giants position that was ended up being taken by Brian Dayball, Bill Belichick allegedly accidentally texted Brian Flores saying, "Yeah, you're a lock for the position." That message was allegedly intended for Brian Dayball, and Bill Belichick said, "Yeah, I effed this up. I'm so sorry." Yada yada yada. So yeah, it's tricky, but hopefully he can parlay this defensive coordinator role for the Vikings to a head coach job elsewhere.
Hmm, interesting. Wow.
That
Well,
is.
the more you know, I actually didn't know that,
Here we are.
learn something. Um, but we were talking about earlier about Ron Rivera being overrated. Speaking of things that may be overrated, a lot of fans have been talking about the fact that if you look at Joe Burrow's stats, he's actually pretty overrated. He went to the Super Bowl 1 year, but besides that, he hasn't really done much in the totality of his career. And when you consider his age and him entering the NFL a little bit later, transport portal woes and things of that nature.
Yep.
Talk to me. What do you think about the situation?
He's either injured or a couple games away from winning a Super Bowl ring. And if you look at the trajectory, rookie year hurt, year two Super Bowl, year three he's 6'4". Year three, was he injured year three? I think he was.
Let me see.
No, year three AFC Championship, year four injuries. So it's like it's one and the other.
Mm.
When I was watching the video, it was basically saying, like, yeah, of course he kicked ass in college, but in the league, he's
In the
low.
playoffs, he got that dog in him. He's had 2 postseason runs. His overall
Yes,
playoff record is 5-2.
yes. He also got sacked 19 times in his first playoff run, which is the NFL record. And he lost 137 yards of sack yardage, which is also an NFL record. Let me pull up some quick points from that video. I watched it earlier,
Yeah,
and one of my homies sent it again. So I was like, let me see if I can just.
yeah. And then, funny enough, that season he led the league in getting sacks and sacks per yard, sack yardage of 370. So, I think that year his offensive line was just abysmally the worst ever. But funny
Oh
enough,
yeah,
that year he had the highest throwing percentage. He had his highest completion percentage and highest yards per attempt, 461. So salute.
let me
And
see
threw
if I
the
can.
most touchdowns, 82.
No, longest touchdown.
Oh, longest touchdown, 82. My fault.
Let me see if I can
Good
pull.
catch there. That would have.
That was
Dan said that does not sound correct.
dude, the longest touchdown of his career, which is 82
Has
yards.
anybody thrown? What's the most touchdowns thrown in a season?
I think it's 55 by Peyton. No,
Hey,
no, no. Wait. Yeah. I think Peyton threw 55 in 2013.
mm,
His second year with the Broncos, or that's his first year.
hey,
His
man, what a guy.
yeah, his second year with the Broncos, 55 TDs, almost 5,500 yards.
Peyton Manning's not even 55, not even 50 years old.
Yeah, he's like 45,
He's 47.
47.
6'5".
47. He's 6'5".
Bro, do you see his forehead, bro?
Hey, salute,
Bro, he's
salute.
getting like 5 inches from his
These are
forehead.
some tall human beings.
Hey, bro, that's a Louisiana boy right there. You know what I'm saying?
Hey man, through.
Oh my goodness.
He had 20, he had 28 picks as a rookie.
Peyton Manning?
Yeah. And then went 13-3 the following year. What a guy.
He knows how to lock in.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Huh.
We pull some pull some pull some
Almost played
back.
20 years.
Mm-hmm.
3-13 to 13-3.
Yep.
Oh yeah, but what were you pulling up?
Yeah, so I don't know if you can hear the video, but I'm gonna just try and get some of the.
You can share your screen if you want.
Oh, that makes sense. All right, when we get on Twitter and let's pull that up real quick.
All right. While you're pulling that up, let's talk about Travis Kelce said that George Kittle's the best tight end in the league. What do you think about that?
I think if you talk about the totality of the tight end position, blocking included, yeah,
Hmm. You don't think there's who are your who are your top 3 tight ends in the league?
I would say Kittle, Kelsey, and Mark Andrews is holding on to that 3 spot, but Porter's right there for me.
Hmm. But Porter's young though. He just started.
And he looks dangerous.
Does look dangerous.
Yeah, so here's a video right here.
Okay.
Exactly has Joe Burrow done to separate himself into the upper echelon of quarterbacks? People complain all the time if you put Lamar or Herbert over him. Please, without using team success, because it's a team sport, give the arguments for Burrow being better. It's truly a ridiculous discussion at its core because Joe has quite literally done nothing to show he's better than guys in his same tier despite having a better supporting cast than almost all of them. The guy has consistently had a better defense than every other starting quarterback in his class outside of Hurts, yet you'll have people acting like this man is rallying the 0-16 line. Lions. For example, a guy like Acho who said don't bring down Herbert's supporting cast to lift him up. How the Chargers look like without Herb and how the Bengals look like without Burrow. That's right, one put out one of the worst teams in NFL history and the other finished 4-2, almost making the playoffs in a stacked AFC while averaging 26 in those last 6 games. It's also ironic how whenever a quarterback has injuries early in their career, they get labeled injury prone, like Lamar, Tua, or Kyler. But not with Joe, who seems to have this cloak of invisibility whenever anything seems to go wrong with the Bengals. The last time we saw Joe in the playoffs, he threw 2 ill-advised picks, one of which being midway through the fourth with a chance to take the lead. Yet all people could talk about afterwards was how poor his offensive line play was. There's been this narrative of coddling quarterbacks and how some can do no wrong. And for some reason, despite being the golden child for this, Burrow's name has been left out of it. Let's ruffle some feathers even more. Going forward on their respective contracts, I'd rather have Pat, Josh, Lamar, Love, Herbert, AR, Stroud, Caleb, and Drake than Joe on 5 years, $275 million. These past 4 years, we have seen Joe get beat up, some of which is his fault for holding the ball too long, but nothing's going to change. Jamar in the near future is going to eat up the amount of cap space they paid himself, T. Higgins, and Mixon combined all by himself. And the situation's only going to get worse on the back end of Joe's contract. As the talent gets worse, I wouldn't be shocked if Taylor's play calling concerns reappear and the Bengals enter this purgatory where they have all this money tied up and nothing to show for it. People are going to rant in the comments and say I'm hating, but to have the confidence you guys have in this man. Their best shot was versus the Rams. That was it. This team is going to have a difficult enough time trying to compete in the AFC North, let alone the AFC as a whole. The narrative around Herbert is he's the GOAT of hypotheticals. Meanwhile, the discourse around Burrow is either over a year old, about a 4-game stretch in October, or made up. But hey, he's got a cool nickname.
Now, when I heard that the first time, I was like, oh, well, he's making some good points. And then my homie put in the group chat, I was like, oh, I'll listen to this again. I was like, oh, maybe the discussion behind Burrow is all inflated because of the media.
Honestly, when you look at Joe Burrow in totality, Joe Burrow is a good quarterback.
Yeah.
But he does get thrown a lot of bail in situations where he should have caught a lot more flack and hate. The people rallied around him because, in a way, especially for Cincinnati, and I think this is more of a case of Cincinnati being louder than everybody else. That's their golden boy. When it comes down to it, he hero balled to LSU through LSU and won that championship and had those iconic moments with the cigar smoking and things of that nature. He went #1 overall, and then after those first year injuries and woes, he pulled up and he made it to the Super Bowl, and then he contended with Patrick Mahomes the following year. Though he did lose, yes, he did contend. And I don't think Joe Burrow's a bad QB by any nature. I do think he does the media doesn't hold him accountable the same way that you see them hold his AFC North what's it called? Compatriots or compadres or compadres. Counterparts. Yes, counterparts. In the same regard, like as you'll see, even with let's look at the Steelers, right? You look at Kenny Pickett, everybody's like, oh, it's been 2 seasons, and everybody's like, oh, Kenny Pickett's trash. All right. That's what the narrative is. Kenny Pickett's trash, and yes, he had a bad OC, but Kenny Pickett hasn't been playing good football. That's the narrative.
Yes.
When you look at Browns, what's his name?
Mr. Miyagi, Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun Watson, the massage man himself, you know what I'm saying? Just as quickly as he came, he went back into being injured again. And the Browns do like Deshaun Watson, but it's very clear that he's injury prone, and honestly, the narrative around him is, can you stay healthy and will you perform? And he's been labeled injury prone. Lamar, don't even get me started. Been labeled injury prone, a running back, a wide receiver, everything but a quarterback. But when you look at it, Lamar has done a lot, and out of the people named, he's the only one with who's gonna be getting their second MVP, knock on wood. So, and Lamar's thing is, oh, you can't you choke in the playoffs, and honestly, you're getting saved by your defense. That's the narrative on Lamar. And
Mm-hmm.
even on First Take, they're saying that Lamar will never win a Super Bowl and things of that nature. Essentially saying that he isn't in the ranks of anybody who's come before him who's won 2 MVPs and gotten a yellow jacket. Even though we saw with
Right.
Manning, he had those early season woes, those early year woes and things of that nature, but he still came back on top.
Right.
All in all, I do think that Joe Burrow doesn't get enough scrutiny, but I don't think he's bad. I think it's also just a case for him that the narrative around him is going to be people are now aware that you've kind of skated by on blaming your O-line and things of that nature. But when you look at it in totality, your team has been good. Are you going to step up to the ball and stay healthy this year? Are you going to do what you need to do? Are you going to stay healthy? Because there's ways to not get injured. Don't put yourself in dangerous situations.
Hmm.
Play
I
within
do.
your limits. Know your body.
Hmm.
It's kinesthetic intelligence. Know the abilities and limits of your body. You know, all right. You're by no means bad, but let's be real. You shouldn't be doing some of the things that you attempt to do in the game. All right. You know what I'm saying? Not everybody's like Josh Allen, who's built to essentially steal, because honestly, when I see some of the stuff he does, I'm like, okay, you shouldn't be doing this. But
Josh Allen is the crash that me.
yeah,
So
it seems, yeah, it's working for him, but you can't do that. Don't do that. You'll hurt yourself,
yes.
But yeah, all in
Um
all, he is overrated, but he's not overrated as much as people think he is. I think the narrative is just louder for people who live up north because the Bengals love him that much. But the Bengals have a right to love him. He took them out of playoff purgatory. So yeah.
right now, how many quarterbacks would you take over Burrow?
Um I'm taking Lamar over Burrow. I'm taking in the whole NFL. All right,
Yeah.
let me pull up the whole list of current QBs. Hold up.
Or do you want to give you names?
Yeah, just give me names. Feed me names. Go ahead.
All right, Pat.
Taking Patrick Mahomes.
Lamar's that's two. Dak.
Dak. Ooh, not taking Dak.
All right. Jalen Hurts.
Taking Jalen Hurts.
Three. Tua.
Nah, still give me Burrow.
All right. Stroud.
Yeah, I'm taking CJ Stroud.
Four. Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah, give me T Law.
Why?
Side note, people look at T Law's record and think that he's bad and he doesn't know how to throw the ball. Go watch a game of Trevor Lawrence playing football.
Mm.
Give him a few years. What is that? The AFC South?
Yep.
Hey, watch out. AFC South, watch out. They've shown you flashes, but when T
Mm.
Law's healthy, that line is good. They
Mm.
do very scary stuff. I'm talking about if you like, there's this one play where I forgot who it was against, but it was during the regular season. He stepped up into the pocket while he is getting tackled, zings it for a touchdown.
I
I'm like,
think that was against Cincinnati. It might have been. I think it was on a Monday night.
I think so.
Oh,
But I was like, yo, if Burrow had did that, the media would still be talking about it today.
yeah. Well, that's the consequence. Well, not all consequences are bad. So yeah, that's the consequence of being a media guy, i.e., redacted and Joe Burrow, Dak, Patrick Mahomes, etc.
Mm-hmm. Look, keep going down these lists of quarterbacks. Come on, talk to me. Talk to me.
Did I say Deshaun Watson,
Uh, mm, nah, give me Burrow.
Matt Stafford,
Give me Stafford.
Geno Smith?
Give me Burrow.
Okay, okay. So he's like based off my little assessment here, and
Oh,
you're
you didn't say Purdy. Give me Purdy.
I was just about to say Purdy.
Give me Purdy. Yep. Yep. Give me Mr. Irrelevant over a number one overall pick. Yep.
Woo! there you have it.
Yeah, Purdy's top 10 in my books.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah,
good.
yeah. Well, based off this little assessment here, you had Joe Burrow in like the tier two, tier 1.5 ish. So, I mean, I think I have him there too, maybe tier 1.5, but still capable, still competent. I think one more year like we saw in 2021. I don't think it's likely, but it's possible.
Mhm.
And a lot of the naysayers and retractors will have to reassess their takes.
Absolutely. And funny enough, he's in the toughest division of football. So it's like if you're making it out the AFC North, you earned it. You definitely
Mhm.
earned it and you fought for it hard. But let's talk to me about Rex Burkhead.
Former Bengal, funny enough. Rex Burkhead also played with New England and Houston when they were in with the Patriots.
Hmm.
Drafted in the sixth round, and he made a 11-year career out of it. Playing running back coming out of the University of Nebraska. Mostly known as a pass catcher, but he can put his head down every now and then. Very good utility, mainly RB2 across his career. He's just had to hang up the cleats. No Pro Bowls, but they won a ring with the Patriots, like I said. So salute to Rex Burkhead and best of luck in your future endeavors.
Why do you think he's hanging it up so early?
I mean, 10 years is a long time.
Yeah, that's fair. Do you
He
think
didn't play at all in 2020. He didn't play at all in 2023, but he was serviceable in Houston for 2 years prior to that. So I think it's just time for him to move
uh,
on to other things.
okay. Hey, salute to Rex Burkhead. Let's get into these hot takes and cold facts. All right. I got a hot take for you. Joe Burrow will never reach the Super Bowl again.
Hmm. You might be on something there. Only time will tell. Never means something. And he was just in the AFC Championship 2 years ago. So, well,
Hey,
really, last year. So, I think he can get back there. So, you've already written off Josh Allen. Now you're writing off Joe Burrow. Okay.
yeah. Um, Second one I got for you is Redskins coaching hires will leave them worse off no matter what talent they bring in.
Four Commanders.
Oh, Commanders coaching hires.
No matter the talent, that's really them worse. Wow. You don't think they can get 3 wins with all these adjustments?
Not this season.
Wow. Wait, no, they haven't won the 3 wins this year, right? I think they have
Yeah.
four.
Oh yeah. I was like three. Yeah, it's a little low, but I'm gonna stand on it.
I think yeah, they went 4-13 this past season. They can't get 4 wins again?
I don't think so.
Wow. Okay. Only tell would tell. I gotta see how they drive. I gotta see what free agency rise. But hypothetically speaking, I think they have like a 6-1-4. I think they can beat the Giants, and then if Philly's having a down year,
Mm.
if they beat Philly once.
Hey, don't write off the Giants. They can surprise you sometimes.
No, I hitched that wagon one time, and they got blown up about 40 in week one, so I never went. Mhm.
That's fair.
Mhm.
All right. If Kadarius Toney is lined up at wide receiver um this this weekend, the Chiefs will lose the Super Bowl.
Well, as long as I got what did I say? Mumble sauce, ketchup. 87-4. That's all I need. There is Tony can just, you know, kill time. Be in it, just kill time. Just be
Hey,
around. Do what
hey,
you gonna do.
he doesn't have to get the ball to be a game disruptor. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, he caught one pass in the Super Bowl last year. And he
Right.
had that great punt return. And then he had that great punt return. Outside of that, he didn't do anything. So
Hmm.
maybe he catches one pass again this year.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I believe you got one cold fact. No, one hot take.
Yeah, I think the 3-point shootout in the NBA clears the slam dunk contest.
Mm,
Clears.
by far.
Clears. Like ever since that Aaron Gordon Zach LaVine slam dunk contest, which is probably the greatest dunk contest I've ever watched, it's
Same.
been downhill since then.
Hmm.
And the 3-point shooter has been steady, very steady, and we're at the point of inflection where it's a lot more entertaining. I'd rather watch the skills challenge than the slam dunk contest. Not gonna lie to you.
Who do they have in the 3-point shootout this year?
All right, the contestants are, I believe I have them off the top of my head. I don't even think Steph is shooting this year, believe it or not.
Mm.
But you got Damian Lillard. Internet. Okay, we got Damian Lillard, Malik Beasley, both on the Bucks. You got Jalen Brunson. You got Tyrese Halliburton. You got Tyrese Maxey. You got Spider Mitchell, and you got Lowry Markkinen. All in the 3-point shootout. Did I get them all? Brunson, Lillard, Beasley, Howie, Markkinen, D. Mitch, Maxey. Yeah, that's all.
Honestly, I need to watch some more basketball because I've seen in these past few years some new stars have emerged that while I haven't been really focusing on it too much. But I'm gonna start
Yes. Apparently, and there's a chance for more contestants because currently there's only 7, so there may be a few more. But
so
as of right now,
how do you
those
get
7
selected to be a 3-point contest?
politics, and he got that clip. So
Is
you
it
got that.
do the coaches pick?
I'm pretty sure it's like fans. I'm not pretty sure who's in charge
Mm,
because like I feel like also sometimes your first choice says no,
mm,
i.e. Steph or something like that. I'm sure. I'm sure they ask Steph every year, and he
mm.
picks and chooses when when he wants to participate. So yeah, and then the slam dunk contest you have this year: Jalen Brown, Jaime Jaquez, Jacob Toppin, and Mac McClung.
I know who
Who?
Mac McClung is. I know that.
Yeah, you know Matt McClung from high school.
Uh,
Uh,
he went to
Jacob Toppin, I believe, is Obi Toppin's brother. I'd never seen him dunk. Yeah. I think he's a G leaguer.
mm.
You see what they're doing to my All-Star Saturday night? Just getting anybody because nobody wants to participate anymore.
I think even if you when you look at the NBA in totality, we're at the tail end of LeBron's career. LeBron got a few more years in him.
Yeah,
And when you look at the NBA, I gotta find some new stars to root for. Honestly.
yeah.
Um, but let's get into the cold facts. Talk to me. Change the temperature for me.
All right. So, did you know that Devin Hester is going to be in the Hall of Fame this year?
I believe it.
Yep.
What do you think?
One of the greatest return men to ever touch this earth. If you ask Dion, he's the greatest return man on this earth. In his career, he was a Bear, a Raven, a Falcon, a Seahawk. Bear, Raven, Falcon, Seahawk. Am I missing one? I think that's all of them. Most notably with the Bears, but as a return man, he was on that Bears team that went to the Super Bowl, and on the opening kickoff, he took it to the crib. Unfortunately, they lost to Peyton, but that was a good moment for him. 3-time first team All Pro, 1-time second team All Pro, and a bunch of other accolades. He has the most career return TDs, NFL record 20. He has the most career punt returns for a touchdown, 14 NFL record, and he has the most punt return touchdowns in the season. He's tied with 6. Uh, you put corner, wide receiver, and running back as well, lining
A
up at all
corner?
for a little bit. but he got coached. So they was like, yeah, stay on offense. He was on the all-decade team. He was one of the best Bears ever. So yeah, shout out to Devin Hester. Well deserved. I remember using UMN for a number of years. Very great athlete. Also went to the U, so shout out. Um,
Miami.
mm-hmm.
Hmm.
My next cold fact. So the Clippers traded for James Harden at the top of the season. I
Yep.
don't think we covered it, but he did say he's not a system player. He is the system. This system has led the Clippers to a 15-3 record since New Year since December 31st. And over the last 39 games of the season, they're 31-8. And fun fact, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, and Paul George are all teammates, right?
Mhm.
Russell Westbrook has been teammates with Paul George on two different occasions, OKC and LA, and now he's been teammates with James Harden on three different occasions, OKC, Houston, and now here in LA.
Hmm. Oh, so is Russell Westbrook the problem?
Well, he's looks like he found his footing as a cover. I think it's crazy that the two players that were willing to get away from him, and now are playing with him together at the same time.
Can't
So
leave him, join him.
yeah, if you look in the crystal ball, we might see Kevin Durant in the Clippers jersey down the line from the way it looks. I doubt it, but hey,
Wait, the Cavs are hooping right now? What's going on?
yeah, the Cavs aren't bad. Collins not. Oh no. Collins was on the Jazz. There is Garland is looking pretty good. Paired up with Donovan Mitchell, it's a great duo that's doing damage.
Huh. They're number 2 in the Eastern Conference behind the Celtics and they're ahead of the Bucks. The Knicks
Yeah, I think they're
won.
good.
The Knicks are winning this season too. Whoa. Oh,
Bro, watch who's, bro. Come
yeah.
on.
I'm out of touch. What? Jalen
Yeah,
Brunson,
yeah,
Julius
Jalen
Rand,
Brunson,
Julius
Julius.
Rand, Josh
Yeah,
Hart.
because they traded for the Knicks traded for Anunoby from Toronto,
Hmm.
and since then they've been looking pretty electric. I can't lie to you.
Okay.
Um, yeah, the Raptors are on full rebuild, but before he got injured, OG Anunoby he was making an immediate impact for the Knicks. He's sitting out with an elbow injury, but let's see how many games has he put with New York? Over the last 10, he's averaged 17, 4, and 1.
Hmm.
Pretty good splits.
Yeah, no, I'm gonna have to start watching some NBA basketball, definitely. Um, Speaking of the NBA, let's talk about what's going on in the NBA. Scotty Barnes and Trey Young. What's going on over here?
So yeah, so in the East, Julius Randle is also injured. Joel Embiid is also injured. They were selected as all stars for the Eastern Conference, and because they are injured, they're being replaced by Scotty Barnes out of Toronto and Trey Young out of Atlanta.
I'm not mad at that at all. All right.
Yeah.
And then we got the trade deadline approaching. What moves do you think are coming up?
There are rumblings that Klay Thompson could be on his way out.
Really?
There's also rumblings that Andrew Wiggins might be on his way out.
Really?
So yeah, the Warriors might shake it up a little bit. Outside of that, let's see, Bruce Brown has been rumored to be on the move. DeJounte Murray has been rumored to be on the move. So yeah, there's a few different things that can happen. Prior to the trade deadline approaching, we saw the Siakam trade to Indiana, pardon me, and
Mhm.
you saw the Anunoby trade to New York.
Mhm.
So there's been a few moves so far, but we'll see if any other big moves are on the way. The LeBron trade rumors were there, but he's staying in LA as far as I'm concerned.
I don't think as a team you're allowed to trade LeBron. Like morally speaking, like actually even logically speaking, like LeBron could be on his last leg. The impact that he has on our market. Do you really want to lose that? Do you want to lose $1 billion of market value? Because I think
So
LeBron's worth that.
here's like an Easter egg. So you know about the decision to go to the Heat, right?
Yeah,
That was a trade.
for real.
Yeah, I think they packaged it that way because they didn't want it to, LeBron got traded, dude. So I think he packaged it that way. So it looks like he just said, yeah, I wanted to Miami, but nah, he got traded there.
Why?
I mean, the Cavs were looking pretty nasty. They
He
went
wanted
60.
out though.
Yeah,
LeBron
yeah,
wanted
they
out.
went, yeah. They went 66 and 16 and they lost in the second round, I think. So yeah, Dan Gilbert. Yeah, it was very nasty work going on. Dan Gilbert, that entire situation was hectic. But
LeBron
yeah,
was out
that
there
was
playing with plumbers, bro.
hey man, you get it how you live, man.
Yo, when at the end of the day, when people do an analysis on LeBron versus MJ, look at the teams that LeBron was taking to the championship in totality, especially in those formative playoff years. Look at what LeBron was doing. He's been an absolute unit for 21 years, and he's not stopping now.
You could argue that he's had a good amount of help though. Anthony Davis, Dwayne Wade, Kyrie Irving.
But if LeBron is not on those teams, do they win?
Nah.
All right, you know, there's a difference between getting help and being the help. You know, hey, shout out
That's
KD.
valid. So just to inform you, so that Miami deal, he was traded, it was a sign and trade
Mm,
for a second rounder, two future first rounders, and a future second rounder.
okay.
What those picks ended up becoming, I'm not sure right now, but I can probably talk about that on a future episode.
Yeah. And then we're speaking about you're talking about the Warriors, right? And you said they're trying to get rid of Andrew Wiggins and Klay Thompson. Is the Warriors dynasty on its last leg?
Oh, they just won that championship like 2 years ago.
Mm,
But interestingly enough, last year they were awful on the road, like abysmal. I think they were like 4 and 30 something.
yeah.
They somehow won. Did they win the playoff series against Sacramento? I know it was a game seven. I can't remember who won. But
Mm,
anyway, they're rebuilding. KD's gone. Steph is getting out there in age. Draymond can't keep his hands to himself. James Wiseman was a bust. They had to trade him. Moses Moody still developing. Jonathan Kuminga. Yeah, they're very young. So they're looking to embrace the rebuild, and I think Klay Thompson is not in their future. I
mm.
think he got benched recently. So it's like
I heard
typically,
about that.
yeah, typically when you bench your vets, you're getting ready to move them. So yeah,
Hmm. So, like, what franchise do you think has has been able to successfully move off of like a dynasty type run into a mini rebuild and then going on another run again?
the Celtics. I
Celtics.
think, yeah, I think Brad Stevens did just enough to get that team somewhere where an actual coach that knows what he's doing can take that team and mold it into something useful, i.e., Ime Udoka, Joe Mazzulla.
Yeah, honestly, because when you look at that team is stacked. You got Jason Tatum, Porzingis, Jalen Brown. And you still have Al Horford on the roster, and you
Yep,
got a lot of defensive guys too. I don't
yep.
know who's Spiatsola Miakialik is. I don't know who that is, but he's on that roster too. And yeah, you got Drew Holiday too. So hey,
Shout out, shout out. Now,
yeah.
funny enough, I was watching a video detail with the Nuggets rebuild post Melo,
Mhm.
and I mean, look what that turned out to. They got the best player in the NBA doing the Taco Bell commercial for the quesarito.
Hmm.
So hey,
The art of rebuilding a team is definitely a skill, right? And
oh yeah,
the right GM.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll definitely have to talk about in the future, like some of these rebuilds, especially even across multiple different franchises. When you look at NBA, NFL, and honestly, my hopes were that the Commanders were about to do like a big turnaround, but I think that the Commanders are going the slow route. That's why I say that they're not going to be on anything next year.
Yeah. I think it's not gonna be an overnight change, but I think it's gonna be drastic regardless.
Uh, Drastic, debatable. Uh, I give them 5 years to get their sea legs back.
Hmm.
Talk to me about Fred Van Vliet. Fred Van
Freddie,
Vliet.
Freddie, Fred is a hooper, bro. He went undrafted at Wichita State, and in that Raptors championship run, he was kicking behind. But yeah, he's a guard. He's like 6'1", but he be blocking shots.
Mm,
Like he be like getting after it.
mm,
He's one of the better point guard shot blockers I can think of.
mhm.
He's not even 6'1", he's 6 foot. Went undrafted, like I said.
Not even
Um,
30 yet.
yeah. Some popular short shot blockers were Dwayne Wade, Lindsey Hunter, and a few others. But this is probably one of the best shot blocking guards I can think of right now.
Hmm. How many blocks does he have on his career? The fact that we're calling Dwayne Wade short at 6'4" is so funny. The league is hilarious.
When you think of shot blockers, yes.
Yeah.
Because
I'm trying to look at his career. He in his career, he was averaging a block per game in 2022.
yeah, he's swatting.
That was in the playoffs.
He broke a record.
In
He
his
had 4 blocks last Sunday,
hmm,
and he set the record for the most blocks by a player 6 feet or shorter in a single season.
hmm.
The record was previously held by Mookie Blaylock, and Freddie broke this record yesterday. Well, it was reported that he broke this record yesterday.
Hmm. Okay, because he's on the Rockets now.
Yeah,
Okay.
remember he signed that real big contract. Him and Dylan Brooks
Yeah.
signed those major contracts with the Rockets.
Yeah, over the summer. Yeah, I remember.
Mhm.
It's all coming back to me. Huh. Hey, salute to Fred Van V. Fred Van V. Fred Double V. That's
Yeah.
what I'm doing right now. Fred Double V.
Funny enough, he says that some of these blocks he wanted to be counted as steals.
Hmm.
He says, I had to protest and talk to the league about how to get some of those as steals. Every time I think I got a big steal game, I got to go to the locker room and they give me 3 or 4 blocks. I can't do nothing with blocks. They don't do nothing for me. You know what I mean? But if I add those on to steals, I think I'll be running away with the steals lead.
Funny enough, over his career, he's averaged 1.3 steals per game, and in 2022 to 2023, it was 1.8 steals per game. So I see what he's saying.
Mhm.
He's really a defensive guy. And at one point averaging up to 1.9 steals per game. So he really gets after it. He hustles, and as you can see, he went for like you were talking about, Dan. He went from undrafted to being essentially and not even essentially, he's an NBA star.
Yeah.
And over his
But,
career, averaging around 15 points per game. So
yeah.
he's a solid player.
Yeah. Yeah, the finals run was a key
Key contributor.
contributor to
Yeah.
that Raptors team that won the finals in 2019. He got the bag from Houston. Loki wanted him to be a wizard once we traded John Wall, but it's all good. So yeah, I mean, shout out to Fred VanVleet.
Yeah. Hopefully our friend, we're in rebuild this year. We're not going to talk about it, but we're in rebuild.
Shout out to Bilal. I see you, baby. You on the work out there.
All right, let's talk about the WNBA. So Nneka Ogwumike joins the Seattle Storm. People are saying this is a new big three. And people were saying to explain this in NBA terms, right? So they're saying this is essentially like the last year of the Rondo, Garnett, and Pierce era. or the big three of Melo, Russ, and PG. Which honestly, when I read that, it sounded very meloclimactic, and I was like, "Why is this news?"
Well,
Neither of those teams did anything. I thought you were like about to tell me like we're about to see like a LeBron Heat level run, you know?
we might. I mean, I think the Aces still kind of are running the yard in the WNBA right now.
Okay.
But the Storm, the Storm are still the Storm. They got a unit here. You know, Neka was a former MVP. She's on a 1 year deal, so this could just be a ring chase move.
Mhm.
But you know, you got Neka. I think they also agreed to terms with was it this is Skylar Diggins and who was the other? Yeah, because you know Skylar Diggins and Jewel Void are making up the other parts of that big three. So it kind of reminds me of Boston. Jewel Void will be that Paul Pierce role because she was the long time player there. And then Ray Allen and then Kevin Garnett will be Diggins and NECA.
Mhm.
Um so according to reports, she said that the idea she was advocating to play with Skylar Diggins when she was up on the Sparks. She was trying to get Skylar Diggins Smith. Pardon me, she's married. Skylar Diggins Smith traded to I believe that was the LA Sparks, but now they're all teaming up in Seattle. So I think it's dope, you know. Seattle basketball, they were running an NBA franchise back there for a while, but now they got this super team in the WNBA. They're probably gonna try to compete against the Aces and the um and the Mercury. So I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it for sure. Um, she put something here. First player in NFL history to finish top 3 in rush yards. Talk about that. I'm gonna step away for a second.
For sure. Kyron Williams, my guy, fifth rounder. You know, he had some injuries his rookie year. And this year, Sean McVay unleashed the dog, as he calls himself. He was top three in rushing, with 1,144 yards. Even though he missed five games with an ankle injury. Had a great year. I'm looking forward to him bouncing back. Next year is acting on it. He suffered a slight injury in the playoff game against Detroit, so I just think he needs to work on staying healthy. And when he's healthy and on the field, he does damage. Him and Puka, the fifth round rookies in back to back years, for they're gonna be mainstays in this Rams roster for a while now. I'm looking forward to seeing how they pan out.
The Rams have an exciting roster, and Kyron Williams was a steal, honestly.
That part.
Definitely looking forward to see what he does, and I'm definitely going for him next year in fantasy. Yeah, I would be very surprised if he doesn't hit 1,500 yards next season, or
I'm
even
an investor.
at this trajectory.
I would love to see it. Stay healthy, my boy. We're rooting for you over there.
Absolutely. But let's talk about the African Cup of Nations, AFCON.
AFCON. Go
You
for
know,
it.
we're in the I think semifinals. We got Nigeria versus South Africa. If you guys
You
didn't,
know how we get down, baby.
yeah, if you guys didn't know, Dan is a Niger boy. So
You know how we get down, baby. Beat 2, 3, 4. You right?
yeah. So let me talk about some of the storylines going into this game. So for Nigeria, they currently have an underperforming attack, only scoring 5 goals from so far. If there's a time that it would be good for Nigeria to get things back to where they need to be attacking wise, it's this match versus South Africa side that's playing with supreme confidence. Osman, who may not play due to injury, has been among the biggest underperformers, but he'll be fit and ready to lead the Super Eagles to their first AFCON final since 2013, when they also won the tournament in Equatorial Guinea. For South Africa, Bafana haven't scored many goals, but when they do, odds are that Themba Zwane is involved with 2 goals and 1 assist in the tournament. If he can net a third, he'd become the first South African player to score 3 goals in a tournament since Sean Bartlett in 2000. South Africa haven't been to an African Cup of Nations final since 1998, but last won the tournament in the 1996 edition. What do you think about that?
Hey man, listen, you know how we get down, you know? We handle business against Angola, we don't handle business again. At least South Africa has a good unit though, but I feel like I think it's our year. We gotta get it done.
Yeah, I think you guys will get it done. It's going to be playing Wednesday at noon. So be on a lookout if you're seeing this before then. If not, I guess look at the post score. And then the second game, Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire, something like that,
Mm-hmm.
versus the Dominican Republic of Congo, DRC.
Democratic.
Oh,
Democratic.
Democratic. Oh my goodness. Democratic Republican of Congo, DRC, you know what I'm saying? The DRC boys, right? So Ivory Coast is hosting the AFCON this year, and
Word.
we've been very much an underdog, right? They've been the under. They fired their coach earlier during the tournament, and they've made it here by the skin of their teeth by winning through penalties and things of that nature. They've had a lot of close games. Like
Mm-hmm.
when
Mm-hmm.
I look it up, like they even only made it past the knockout round because of
PKs.
yeah, PKs.
They beat Senegal. They beat Senegal in PKs. They beat Mali in extra time. It looks like.
Yeah. So they're by no means a bad team, but they've already lost to Nigeria during the group stage. They got housed by Equatorial Guinea 4-0, but here they are. They've made it to this point, and this will really decide where they go from here.
In the words of the great man Sean Corey Carter, otherwise known as Jay-Z, grand opening, grand closing.
Hey,
For your service.
hey, funny guy. Um, oh, that is true. Hey, they opened 5-1. So hey.
See?
So for Congo, they haven't won AFCON since 1974. So for them, this is also big. Um, they haven't gotten a chance to essentially root for their team since the 70s at this level.
Hmm.
So
That is what? 1974 was that 50 years?
50 years on the dot.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. But yeah, those are the big storylines. Do you have any predictions or things that you think are gonna happen?
I think we're gonna get a good one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel I got some breaking news after this. I think we're gonna get a really good one. I'm looking forward to seeing the Cote d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast, and the Super Eagles in the final. You already know who I'm rooting for, so we just gotta make it happen.
Hey, don't let Ivory Coast fool you. Those are some tough guys. Hey, I remember when they beat us a few years ago, us being Ghana.
Mm.
I'll never forget the name Yaya Toure. I'll never forget that.
Yeah, Torre.
That's yep, yeah. But I think the final will be Ivory Coast versus Nigeria in the final, and we'll see how that goes. But I'm gonna pass it to you with the breaking news, and then we'll close out.
All right, so I was just on X for like a half a little second, and according to my sources, Giants running back, the Giants are not planning on tagging Saquon Barkley. He's gonna hit the open market. So
Hey,
he signed that 1 year deal, and now he's about to just test the waters.
hey,
And boom,
hey,
yeah.
Saquon or Derrick Henry? I'm putting out a bolo right now. Come to the Ravens, one of you. Let's figure it out. Let's make this thing work. Let's win you a ring. Let's do you your due justice. You know, don't look at the J.K. Dobbins injury. Don't look at the Keaton Mitchell injury. We're not worried about those things. Come win with us. We're fixing up our O line, and we have Lamar. So the truth of the matter is, with our RPO, you're gonna have open field to do your thing.
Are you gonna pay?
listen, do you want money or do you want to win?
Well, he's on a 1 year deal, so he wants.
He just got 12 million. So let's think. Do you want money or do you want to win? Because you can have money for days, but guess what? Sign a 1 year deal. Come get that ring next year.
So remember, way back, we had the conversation about $50 million and no championship versus like no $50 million and two rings versus like $200 million and no ring.
Yeah.
What do you stand on that? Like, do you want to be like a Robert Ory, or do you want to be like a
Wait, what did I say?
no? I'm giving you room to answer right now. So whatever you said in the past,
I don't remember I don't remember what I said in the past.
It's all
Oh wait,
good. It's all
I definitely said take the ring, glory.
okay.
I'm standing on it. Take the pay
You
cut.
you still feel that way?
Because my thing is the running backs, respectfully, right? Take the pay cut now, get your ring, and then hit the free market and go make your money. You're coming off a Super Bowl.
When he was that easy. He is pretty paid. 48 million in his career. Amongst running backs, I think he's like sixth
Wealthy.
highest paid. So yeah, I mean, maybe we see Saquon in the north.
You know, he's only 26 also. You know,
Yeah.
he probably got like what few more years under him, like probably like 4, 5, 6.
Yeah, y'all gonna get every last yard out of him. So probably about 4, 5, 6, like you said.
Yeah. Hey, listen, let's do the right thing here. Let's go get that ring.
Do the right things. Do the right thing is crazy.
Is it or is it honest?
Here we are.
Hey, you know. But him or Derrick Henry, honestly, I'm gonna be excited to see where they go. Um, but besides that, we'll be talking more about the Super Bowl in our next episode. I think we'll be putting out one more before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
We'll have our final storylines, things of that nature. We'll talk some more about what's going on with these coaches, and we'll talk more sports news and events. But yeah, please like, subscribe, follow Fever Pitch Pod everywhere on YouTube, Fever Pitch Podcast. If you want the visuals, so you can come see our beautiful faces, especially
You know what
Dan,
I'm saying?
the beard
Hey,
man,
relax.
Alias
Chill,
K right
man.
there.
I'm trying to get like you, my boy. I'm trying to get
Trying to
like
get like
you.
me? Please don't
Yeah.
say it. Please go look at the visuals, guys. Dan says he's trying to get like me. As you can see, I don't have a beard. Dan has a very luscious beard. So
Yeah.
don't let him lie to you. But with that being said, it's been Brian.
And then
We'll catch you guys next time. Peace.
take care. God bless.